Governance and institutional challenges in Nigeria are deeply rooted in systemic inefficiencies, corruption, and weak institutional frameworks. Our federal structure, while designed to accommodate the country's diverse population, often leads to conflicts over resource allocation and power distribution among the various levels of government. These issues are compounded by inconsistent policy implementation and a lack of transparency, which undermine public trust in government institutions. Additionally, bureaucratic inefficiencies further hinder the effective delivery of public services, contributing to social and economic disparities across the country. Addressing these challenges requires comprehensive reforms that promote transparency, strengthen institutions, and enhance citizen participation in governance. Is there any possibility of this happening anytime soon?
Policies act as a blueprint for governance, offering framework for decision making and setting guidelines for both the public and private sector. On today's episode, looking at the topic governance and reforms in Nigeria, we are joined by a leader, model and quintessential gentleman who, has added value and uplifted the lives of less privileged people around Nigeria. Born in Gombe State, he holds a bachelor's degree in public administration from the Ahmed Bello State University, a postgraduate diploma in management, masters of science degree in business administration from the Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto. He's also an executive education from Harvard Kennedy School. He's a fellow of the Institute of Corporate Administrator, fellow of the Institute of Information Managers, and full member CIPM. Today, we are glad to be joined by the current DG of the Bureau of Public Service Reforms, Nigeria, Dr. Dasuki Arabi. Thank you very much for joining us today, sir.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be with you.
Welcome to the NESG Live TV.
Thank you very much.
I would love us to start from a very light note before we get into more critical questions. From the context of your organization, what would you consider as reforms?
Well, thank you very much for having us. And we are really appreciative of this initiative by NESG. It's very difficult to drive this very dirty job that we're driving. And we see institutions recognizing and appreciating us. So thank you for appreciating us. Thank you for being part of us. Reforms to me and to agency is getting people to deliver quality service to citizens of our country in the latest and the most efficient, effective way, spend a little or no money. Reforms to us means getting things done in better ways, doing away with the old ways of delivering public service. At the end of the day, assessing the impact of those reforms positively on the lives of the common man on the street.
Thank you very much, sir. Very, very critical definitions and very, very valid. I would ask a next question and say, from your point of view, how would you assess reforms in governance process in the past 1 year?
Well, I don't know why you decided to ask me in the past 1 year. I'd love you to give me that space to talk.
You are free
from inception.
You are free to go ahead.
Now, as a prelude, BPSR was set up in 2004 to drive reforms in federal public service. And to guide the way we work, we developed what we call the National Strategy on Public Service Reforms that has 4 pillars. These pillars are looking at specific sectors linked to quality service delivery and governance in ministries, departments, and agencies of government. Pillar 1 is looking at institutional and governance environment. How is the performance of ministries, departments, and agencies of government vis-a-vis fighting corruption, improving transparency, making the environment clean and neat for our customers. Looking at that pillar, we don't see citizens as just people coming to us for our services, but they are customers, and our attention is on serving those customers. Pillar 2 is looking at development of national development plans. It is beyond this that we produce the ERGP document, and we've been part of the current national development plan that we are driving in Nigeria. Pillar 3 is looking at public financial management. I will be speaking a lot around that because 20 years ago, when we started and we said we have come with a tool that is called IPPI's Integrated Personal Payroll Management System, where one person will be able to pay the salaries of everybody that's on the payroll of government. People said it was not possible. Today we have done this. So we have adopted technology to change the way we manage resources of government, improve transparency and accountability. Pillar 4 is looking at the core civil service. Of course, you know they are the full soldiers of the service. Unless you get them grounded, well fitted to deliver that service, they will not get what you want. So this has been the strategy that we've been driving. And doing this, we have succeeded in transforming management of resources from paper to paperless. We have succeeded in introducing performance management, succession planning within the service. We have professionalized certain cadres within the public service. Mentorship has been institutionalized. Most importantly, we are driving the digitalization process of the entire public service, hoping that by the year 2030, all ministries, departments, and agencies of government will be paperless. Now, in the last 1 year, there has been reforms around microeconomic stability in the country. You are quite aware that we have made some changes through central bank and the foreign exchange policy of the country. We have merged the two windows that we have. That has reduced a lot of imbalance that we had around foreign exchange, and we are hoping that with time it will make more forex available for investors, for traders, and for manufacturers. Also, we have succeeded in getting a new or one window open for trade in Nigeria. This is in line with government's initiative on ease of doing business. That means from one window, you'll be able to access all services that will help you either export, prepare for export, or accept goods that are coming into the country. A lot of tax reforms are going on. We'll not discuss more on that because government have not made pronouncements around that. But a team has worked. They've worked very hard. I don't want to preempt what the outcome of those work would be. Also, we worked around the students' loans policy that came into being with the passage of the law and signing by the president. This is a laudable achievement because all what we are discussing around reforms cannot be achieved without human capital. Now we are hoping that the reforms around the reintroduction or introduction of the Students' Loans Board will improve the ratings of Nigeria first around getting more Nigerians to go to school, not only them going to school, but to study courses that are relevant to us vis-a-vis the 21st century public service that we want to render to Nigerians. Now, we have also, for the first time, digitalized writing of exams for promotion of officers, adopted the use of technology in conducting meetings of Federal Executive Council, other serious meetings within government. I think it's important for us to address the issues of adoption of blockchain technology in driving public service, especially public service reforms and artificial intelligence. These are new policies that have been adopted, and we have captured them into the reforms we are driving.
Quite interesting that you mentioned AI, considering the current dispensation that we are in. AI is something that is supposed to, reform a lot of our sectors.
Yeah.
You spoke on 4 pillars, and your pillar 3 was on public financial management. And I'm aware that the agency has a handbook on fiscal transparency to foster trust and ethical conduct in public administration. Would you say that this handbook has achieved its objectives?
Well, thank you. We did that work in collaboration with the civil society group that is called Fiscal Transparency, working with them, concerned by the need for Nigeria to upscale, the need for Nigeria to change the narrative internationally, where anywhere Nigeria is called, the negatives come in. That was why we worked with them. And what are we aiming at? One, we're aiming at opening governance, improving transparency, making ministries, departments, and agencies to proactively provide information on their activities on their websites without anybody asking them to do that. Creating that awareness among public servants that somebody is watching you for the purpose of avoiding corruption, for the purpose of ensuring compliance with the rules and regulations guiding our operations as managers of resources, as managers of of funds and human resources within the space of public service delivery. Now, with our work, we have seen that before the initiative of this, the initiation of this work, a lot of requests are coming from civil society vis-a-vis Freedom of Information Act, requesting ministries to provide information on their funding, how much they have received, how much they've utilized, who are the consultants, who are the contractors. Now we proactively provide this information on the website. So that gap and the trouble that it was generating between civil society and government workers has almost gone off by now. We have also gotten them to understand that they must provide information. So we encourage them working with the earlier project that we had, scorecard for ranking of websites of ministries, departments of and agencies of government that says all of them must have functioning email address, they must have functioning telephone numbers, they must have interactive portals on freedom of information, and they must be able to provide detailed information and guidance to customers and this time around citizens of Nigeria, so that if you want to transact any business with Nigeria customs, you don't have to travel from Sokoto or from Owerri to come to Abuja and do that, or Lagos. You sit down from the comfort of your office and you are able to do that. We have gingered a spirit of competition. The results are just being assessed for 2023-24 to be released, and we have seen lots of improvements from 30% in 2022 to about 78% in compliance with the criteria set up for assessing the performance of MDAs vis-a-vis that project.
Interesting. I like the part that you mentioned the issue of corruption, because some people have argued that corruption is one of the challenges that hinders the effective implementation of policy. I will then ask my next question in light of the recent protests, because corruption has also been raised as an issue that then led people to the streets to request for an end to bad governance. What practical projects have you done, and what practical results have you seen of your intervention in terms of people calling for an end to bad governance?
Well, what we have tried to do, number one, is that initiative that you call working with the civil society to open government. What that means is we engage citizens, we provide information to them on how their resources are being utilized, and we give them the space to ask and demand for explanation on what they are doing. And in addition to this, we have run a number of capacity development programs to educate directors of information service-wide on the need for them to adopt the use of technology in engaging with citizens. Of course, more than 60% of Nigerians are below 30 years, and these are the customers of the new media. Now, I think that our inability to provide information actively on activities of government created a furrow of people that don't really understand what is government, don't understand what government is. So our hope is by delivering on these projects that we have initiated, citizens will know what government is doing, and they will understand and follow what we are doing. Now, you can't be a manager of my resources. You are there on my cost, and you are called a public servant or a civil servant, and you cannot engage and provide information on government activity. I always get puzzled when some appointees of government have to engage the use of social media influencers outside government to provide information on activities of government. So that engagement and the trainings that we are doing are aimed at opening that space, providing information. The entire strategy that we're driving on public service reforms is not looking at corruption per se, but is looking at improving transparency and making sure that there is no space for anybody to be corrupt. The tools that BPSI developed, IPPIS, Government Integrated Financial Information Management System, Treasury Single Account, BVN, they are tools that are created by us to safeguard the resources of government, to give you that knowledge beforehand that whatever you do, somebody is tracking you. Because under Treasury Single Account, again, today, whatever comes in to the government account now, the players will be able to see it. Who is the beneficiary if it's utilized? The players will see it. And within that space, civil society are able to understand who is utilizing what resources. With BVN, you know that as a government worker, before you can pay any money into your account. With BVN now, if you pay, your salary is 100,000 and there's a credit of 5 million. In less than an hour, somebody will call you, okay, from where is that money coming? So people are conscious of this, that the system is working, there are checks and balances, and people outside are checking them. So we have reduced corruption by more than 80% within the space of governance. IPPIS has stopped ghost worker syndrome within the service. It has also stopped the issue of people changing their dates of first appointment, a lot of things that people used to do, because at the point of entry, your biometrics are captured, everything. You cannot amend, you cannot change anything. Now, under GIFMIS, that is the platform we use for paying contractors, service providers working for government. As your agency or ministry is making payment, Accountant General is watching, Minister of Finance are watching, Auditor General is watching, Budget Office are watching electronically. So the platform is open for role players, including anti-corruption agencies, to see what is happening within that space. So there too, we are stopping corruption before it happens. The national reorientation program we are driving under Pillar 4 is making public servants to understand that there is that need for them to appreciate Nigerian citizens for giving them the space to work as public servants. If there are 230, 210 million Nigerians and you are picked to become a DFA, Director of Finance, you should appreciate that out of all those numbers, all is there. So Nigerians are interested, Nigerians are watching, and we should put Nigeria first before ourselves. That is what we are looking under that. Now, you can educate people to understand what is expected of them, to understand how to render quality service. And by that, also you avoid corruption. And that's why we are leading quite a number of transformational, specialized capacity development programs around Smart P, Lead P, and others, to make sure that we reskill and upskill the performance of public servants vis-a-vis what is expected of them, rejecting and fighting corruption at that level.
Thank you very much, and it's very, very palpable for your love for the Nigerian citizen, because even when we walked into your office this afternoon, I could see the relationship between you and Gen Zs, and you understand the language.
Thank you.
So speaking about citizenship engagement,
Yes.
what are the platforms that an ordinary citizens can get engaged in public sector reform process?
Okay. Now, BPSR have a very active website, and we have interactive portals on that website that you can engage with us. And through the scorecard project that we have introduced, we have gotten first the approval of the President and Commander-in-Chief for all MDAs to have functional and working websites, to give that space for interactive portals that they will engage, ask questions, and we must respond to those questions. Now, beside the fiscal transparency collaboration with us on these activities, BPSR is driving the scorecard ranking. And we have seen that we started with about 50 ministries, departments, and agencies. Today we are covering over 300. And the competition is very stiff because they know things are real. We are working, we are engaging with them. And the focus is all around engaging with the citizens, providing information on them. Now, the FOI portal is compulsory for all of us to have it on our website. And citizens can ask questions, can interact, and they can walk into any ministry because it's a law or agency of government request for this information, and we must provide that. But through the use of our websites, the telephone numbers, the emails that we have, we're trying to provide that information to citizens before they even ask. What we're trying to do now is to cascade this work from federal to the states and local governments. Because just as I said, federal were small in number compared to the entire federation. So we're working with the few states that already have bureaus of public service reforms. I just returned from a meeting with the Governors Forum to see how we can domesticate these programs in the states and the local governments.
Thank you very much, sir. You spoke about scorecard, and recently we know that the Office of the Policy Coordination conducted a first half review of all ministers in the Federation. How, in your own opinion, would you evaluate this process and the outcome?
Well, I think it's a good process. These are all part of the reform initiatives that BPSR have been calling for over the years. You know, when targets are given to anybody, he knows that somebody is asking him, so he's accountable to that person. Now, that accountability and targets given to you as a public servant, the space has been open for citizens to take pictures on at sites of government projects and report without you knowing on your activities. I think it is very good because it has kept all government workers on their toes. They know somebody is asking them. And I think linked to this is this idea of shaming and disgracing, because you've performed your duties, you've met all your KPIs, you are celebrated. You are not meeting those ones, you are not celebrated, and certainly nobody wants to be shamed and disgraced. So I think it is very good for us. And again, linked to that role of citizens playing a role in governance and assuring delivery of quality service vis-a-vis the assurance that we make use of the little resources that the nation has. Is a very good initiative, and we encourage the President and Commander-in-Chief, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for ensuring that this thing takes place, and he's improving on that. And we're on our toes, all of us as government workers, because nobody wants to be disgraced, to provide quality service, to meet our KPIs. And that is why part of the things that we are driving, again, linked to the nationwide performance management, is to make sure that every MDA has standard operating procedure and they have KPIs. And through that, we'll be able to track their performance, and even citizens can willingly go and ask for information if there's any justification for so category of officers and what they have done over the years.
Mr. DG, it's been an absolute pleasure to sit with you this afternoon. Thank you for your wealth of knowledge.
Thank you. It's our pleasure.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.